Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us on another edition of Team and Finances. I am your host. I am Andrew. Here joining me again, once again, the one and only Sleepy Gary, Dylan Linder. How you doing tonight, Dylan?
I'm good. I came through a amazing revelation about the upcoming Vegas DLC, and that my decision is I will not make a decision on what deck I'm playing until Friday. So what a massive weight off my shoulders trying to think that I had to make a deck choice before the event. I'll make it during the event.
The intensity of this tournament is really starting to pick up. The excitement is palpable. We do not know what deck is going to top this event. We don't really have a great idea of what the set 5 metagame is right now. So it is quite possibly one of the bigger events that we have seen that will dictate a lot of what is to come. This video is sponsored by Light TCG. If you're looking for a family-run trading card game store that specializes in Lorcana singles, look no further than Light TCG. He is based out of the Pacific Northwest, just like us, and he's been a very important part of our community. If you're looking for any Lorcana singles, head on over to his website at lighttcg.shop. That is lighttcg.shop, and use our promo code TAA5 for 5% off your first Lorcana order. Thank you so much, Light TCG, for sponsoring this video. Dylan, any thoughts about what you've seen just in like the last month that Shimmering Skies has been out?
Oh man, what a great time to be in the Lorcana finance. The card prices are they go down and then they go up and then they go down and they get back up again. So like it's just all sorts of crazy. I mean, we're seeing like cards drop, but then the foils go up. We're seeing the enchanteds go up. It's kind of the wild west right now, and I'm digging it, and I think it's only going to get even crazier once we start seeing the deck list from like Vegas.
Yes, I agree. I think we are going to see some huge spikes and some drops in cards. Usually the spikes happen much faster, and the drops are a bit more of a gradual process. Some of the most recent events has seen the rise of some not typically in the meta color combinations. Probably the biggest winner so far that hasn't really made much of a splash is Blue, Purple, or Sapphire Amethyst, which is commonly known as Blurple. Has taken one of the top events of the competitive constructed at DLC Toronto, has top 4'd one of the events over in France. Very fun deck. I really enjoy it a lot. And this is the moment that we do a little bit of a Team and Finances callback to a card that we have called out, and that is the one and only Elsa. This card, for the longest time, had been slept on for about 2 or 3 sets, and it is back with a force. She was hanging out at $7 for probably the longest time, and look at her now. Elsa reclaiming her throne and coming back to 15. The foil is still at a nice calm 40. I picked some up at DLC Toronto for 30. Pretty happy about that one. But this card, slowly on the rise. If it performs well at DLC Las Vegas, who knows? What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, it's crazy. And if we look actually at the chart, we can see as of like August 19th, like a little over a month ago, it was like an $8 card. And, you know, we called it that it was going to be more than an $8 card. And clearly it shows. I mean, if you picked them up even at $8, you just made a double up. So, and if you picked them up even cheaper, congratulations, you probably made a triple up or more. And it's great. It's a 3 of and many Blurple decks. So I'm not surprised. And, you know, it's a deck that is definitely showing up. It may not be as having as many numbers as Blue Red or Steel Song, but I mean, even if a copy slips through, that means it can hang with the big boys. You know, and definitely people are more on Steel Song and Blue Red than Blurple, Crunch Berries, Mixed Berries, whatever have you. But the fact is, this deck is topping, and you need those cards in order to do them. Elsa is a vital card for the strategy.
Any other cards that you feel like you would like to call back to, Dylan, that you've seen a nice spike in, or might be seeing the spike come about once DLC Las Vegas hits?
We called Hades not necessarily as like a card that's going to spike immediately, but we said, hey, if you want your copies for Vegas, you should pick them up now. They still maintain around the same price of like $7 to $8, but here's the thing: all it takes is one list to top 64, and Hades is always played in those lists. Sure, it's not always as a 3 of, it might be a 1 of, maybe a 2 of. But the thing is, it's a legendary for the first chapter that's less than $10. So even if you just play one copy, why would you not pick it up? It can only go up from here, in my opinion.
I agree. I think its time might be coming. I think most decks right now won 1 to 2. But hey, if it picks up steam and heads to that 3 range again, what's stopping it from going right where Elsa was? Let's talk about probably some of the other decks that have been more prevalent in the recent meta of the big events that have been happening right before DLC Las Vegas. The 2 biggest culprits are probably Red Blue or Sapphire Ruby, and of course Steel Song, which is just always around. These legendaries seem to be holding pretty pat, but not just the legendaries. It looks like the foils are still hanging around where you would expect for an elite level deck. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I want to kind of hark on Steel Song for a moment. So, for example, Prince Naveen, a card who was around $40-ish, maybe as early as like a month ago or a little bit after, and we were advising people to sell it because it could not maintain that price. And look, it's almost been cut in half by that $40 mark. So if you got rid of your Prince Naveens, that was good. You made out like a bandit. But the cold foils are actually surprisingly cheap because a lot of players have moved from that traditional, oh, Naveen is a 2 of because he's an inkable, to be like, wait a minute, Naveen's busted, especially if you're playing cards like Lantern. So more people are playing him as a 3 to 4 of, and that cold foil price is only around $32, $33. I can see that immediately getting bought out because, in my personal opinion, it is a fact that Steel Song in multiple copies will top 64. Because one, it's a tier 1 deck, but also just the sheer numbers. People love Steel Song. I like Steel Song. You like Steel Song. Everyone likes playing Serious Song. So, like, just by brute force, it will top 64. And it's also a good deck. But clearly, a lot of people are also kind of hype on the situation here because Prince Naveen Enchanted is getting bought out. I mean, it is going above the $150 price tag. We have about 3 listings at 157, and then it goes to like 175, and then it goes from 175 to 230. So people are definitely buying out this card, and I don't blame them. If you've never seen it in person, it is a very, very pretty looking card. Naveen, handsome guy, plays a mean ukulele, and yeah, it just looks great. And people are kind of like being on this hype of, I'm playing my favorite deck, so why don't I max rarity it? And the Enchanted looks great.
I think one of the bigger surprises that has come about is that, we always make fun of the fact that Red Purple, one of the main decks of the entire history of Lorcana, just doesn't want to seem to go away, and it continues to perform well. Just still rocking the foundation of cards that were just made in set 1 and 2. One of the things that we were looking at were the foils of just some of the classic staples. Your Madam Mims, your Merlin Goats, your Merlin Rabbits, all of those things. And even just within the last month, the prices for the foils has jumped up rather significantly, even within the last couple of weeks. Madam Mim Fox was a $15 foil, and at one point in the last couple of weeks, they were gone. You could only buy it for $30, and that's a 200% increase. Like, it is ridiculous the level of value that some of these red-purple foils still hold. And I think that's probably twofold. One, that deck does not change that much. I think this set they gained maybe 1 card, maybe 2 cards. I think most decks are like on library as the second location that you run in the deck. But
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
like,
and that's it.
Pretty much it, yeah.
But they didn't change too much from the foundation, so they want to play with better cards too. And if they can't upgrade the actual deck with new cards, well, you might as well get the foil versions of the old cards. So if you have these foils, they are still a hot ticket item and can be traded pretty easily. Even Snake is still in the almost nearing double digits in terms of how much it can be traded for, which is wild. This is uncommon.
Oh, crazy. It goes to show you that purple staples are just very good because I never thought they could go higher because they were already so dang expensive. Like, I got my Foxes for way less than that, and I was like, there's no way people are going to be buying out Foxes at $15, $16, $17. And boy howdy was I wrong, because there's only 14 listings and the lowest is like 29.23. So yeah, it's a $30 foil, and even the non-cold foil for, and we talk a lot about cold foils, I get it, but like the non-cold foil, $6. That's a structure deck card. It was $2 for so long, and now you're having a triple up from a structure deck card. It just goes to show you that the Petting Zoom package is absolutely bonkers. It's a staple in any colors of purple, and it just goes to show you. So yeah, I hope everyone got your copies early, but there's always new players coming into the game, and they need their foxes. I mean, shout out to the guy who has 25 copies on TCG Player. I guess if you need 16 copies of Madden Fox for all your purple variant decks, get it from them. But yeah, it's just crazy how purple decks just keep going up and up and up, because they're the best package around for drawing and trading and doing a bunch of stuff.
Any other callbacks that you want to outline?
Not necessarily a callback, but I do want to kind of still hark on the red purple stuff, because Maui Hero to All also recently got a bot out, and specifically the enchanted version. Again, I've been seeing a lot of people who are taking their decks and trying to get the max rarity versions of it. And Maui is now $235. And if you look at this price graph, it just is going up, 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 and up. And it's a good looking enchanted. And you know what? There's a lot of diehard red players there. Maui's a 4F staple in every red deck there is. A lot of these enchanteds are just getting bought out because the game is here to stay. It's a very healthy meta. A lot of these enchanteds are very good staple cards, and it's not like you're going to be like, oh, I bought 4 Maui enchantments, what am I going to do with them? You're going to play them in every red deck, so I'm not surprised that a lot of people are on this. Even Elsa, Spirit of Winter, the grand old enchanted, the mother of all, is up, and I think that attributes you to it. We talked a little while ago about the Elsa test, where if Elsa is at a higher price, all enchanteds tend to rise from that price, and she is going up. I think she's $900 to $1,000. Yeah, like look at that. You could get Elsa's for, 600 at one point, and now she's going up. And I think that does bring up the general price of enchanted. So, if you see an Elsa price go up, you might want to start picking up your enchanteds, because they're going to go up as well.
Well, before we jump into our next topic, which is the meat of our discussion tonight, we do want to outline one new set of cards that we really hadn't mentioned previously, which is the D23 collector set. That is the 6 cards that include Mickey, Brave Little Tailor, Ursula the Deceiver, Cinderella Stout-Hearted, the Bruno Madrigal, the Vanellope von Schweetz, and of course the Oswald that has not yet been released. People are pretty hyped about the Oswald. There are obviously 2 cards that are reasonably meta relevant in this set, and those are the 2 cards that we have seen kind of jump up in price, but not just those 2 individually, but kind of the set as a whole. Because shockingly, guess what? A set that is not in print anymore and that you can't get because people aren't trying to get rid of them that fast is going to go higher in price.
So I recently just purchased a Cinderella Stout-Hearted, and if you have never seen it in person, it's basically a full art foil version of the card, and every bit of it is foily. You can see the little shards from like the bottom of the card and the rocks all pop out. It's a very good looking card, and they're about anywhere from $65 to $85 to $100. It's insane. These cards are very good looking, and they're only going up. The lowest one is the Bruno, because it originally saw a lot of buyout hype because Disney admitted they accidentally put the wrong artist on the card. And so people are like, oh, it's a misprint, let's buy it, buy it, buy it. But then Bruno's not the most playable card, so it kind of went down. Generally, you want to have a very good art with a playable card conjoined together to maintain a strong price. But even stuff like Vanellope is anywhere from $40 to going to like $50, $60. These are going all over the place, and they look very good. I mean, in a week, I saw Ursula go from $30 to $90. It's insane. So any of you guys who bought multiple D23 promos to parse out, good on you. You made a killing. And even if you just bought a couple D23s, as long as you held out past the initial week, you made a double up. Because some people are like, oh, they still have a Monday, I'm going to sell them for around $150, $110. But if you weathered the storm and waited 2 to 3 weeks, they're now around $200 or more. So yeah, good on you. Definitely a financial killing for sure. And those cards look gorgeous. If you're trying to max rarity out everything, this is definitely some nice pair bling. As somebody who also kind of likes their shiny stuff. So yeah, good on you. Good on you.
Let's jump into our discussion, which is probably one of, I would say that since the beginning of Disney Lorcana, that this might be the tournament that really does dictate what decks we're going to see moving forward more than any other event before. DLC Atlanta was the first attempt at which people were going to like really see what the competitive level decks were going to be. The only issue is that when that event happened, we were a set behind. So it really wasn't too reflective. And we really didn't get until Chicago until we realized, oh, this is what everyone's going to play. And then came the rise of the Bucky deck, which we all expected and we all probably generally hated across the board. But now Bucky is gone. Now we have a whole new meta to look forward to. This is the first big tournament where we get to see that really on display with every available card to our disposal. What are your expectations here, Dylan?
As we alluded to earlier, there's no surprise. I think Steel Song is going to be very, very full force. It's, in my opinion, probably going to be the most represented deck. A lot of people are estimating somewhere between 30 or more % of the possible metagame. That is huge. It's huge. It's crazy. I think we're going to see a lot of Steel Song. But to counter that, we're going to see a lot of Blue-Red. Blue-Red generally has kind of no bad matchups, and it has a pretty good Amber Steel Song matchup. So a lot of people are saying, well, if Amber Steel Song is going to be the most popular deck, if Amber Steel Song is the best deck, I'm going to blame Blue-Red and hopefully crush it all. And then, of course, Red-Purple, old reliable, never going to go out of fashion, always hip with the kids. Probably going to be a strong percentage too. It's still a relatively cheap deck, unless you're trying to buy the foils, then it's not a relatively cheap deck. But generally saying is one of the cheaper tier 1 decks that is just good. It plays good old-fashioned Lorcana, and yeah, it does everything right. Other than that, we might see a smattering of other decks. I think Green-Purple can definitely hang with the boys. It is a very good deck. Lyle Tiberius Rourke is one heck of a card. If you've ever B-prepped a Green-Purple board state while Lyle's out, you've just felt miserable. And, we'll see green-yellow discard as well as Blurple and, Mufasa decks and such. But yeah, I think the big three are to gun for are definitely Red-Purple, Amber Steel Song, and Blue-Red. And then obviously the prices are reflecting on that because that is the general consensus from people as well.
What do you think is going to happen with these prices? I think that's the biggest mystery, is that usually, if based on history with these DLC events, that after an event where the winning deck list is released, the legendaries, the foils, all of the top cards from that deck does see a spike. We saw that with the Bucky Green Steel. Like, let's say Amber Steel Song hits the market and wins the DLC Las Vegas. Like, what are we expecting here? Like, what cards are going to really hit the tippy top of their price structure?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we can kind of analyze every deck and kind of give you guys a breakdown of what we think. If, hey, this deck won, what would you be looking for? So we obviously alluded it to before, but I think Prince Naveen is going to be a big role player in Amber Steel Song. A lot of people are saying he's no longer a 2 of, he's a 3 to 4 of. So the non-foils are currently, half the price they used to be. Great pickup. Cold foils are only a little bit more than that, so I definitely pick it up. And Enchanted Naveen's going through the roof. But another card I want to actually shout out is Lantern. And currently they're about $4 to $5, but most people only have 1Z copies. If this wins, this can easily be a $10 to $15, $20 cold foil because you run generally 3 to 4 of them, and it's a first chapter foil. It's very hard to get. No vendor has more than one copy, and we're seeing that because of Brandon DeCandio, a famous Lorcana player, former pro Magic player, is on Lantern and has been doing success with it. A lot of people are kind of copying a strategy saying, hey, what's better than Naveen on 4? Naveen on 3. So Lantern cold foils can definitely go up, and same thing with Robin Hood. We saw him dip a little bit and then shoot back up. So I think that if you don't own your Robin Hoods, there's a strong chance that he can recover. And I don't think he'll do a double up, but he'll definitely go up in price for sure. He's always been a 4-up in these Amber Steel Song sort of decks. Other than that, unfortunately, aerials are just so expensive. The deck hype is real. They're going to maintain their cold foil prices. There's no longer going to be ever, $10 cold foil aerials anymore. They're going to maintain that $20 to $25 cold foil prices. But yeah, definitely pick up your Naveen's cold foil. I think 32 is kind of a steal for a card that's starting to become a 4-of.
I think I want to call out a sleeper card discussion. Well, with regards to the Steel Song deck, especially most of the variants that are coming out, why not the DLC promos themselves? Rapunzel, the full art that you can get from the prize wall, and the Cinderella that you can get from the prize wall. Ironically, both of these cards in Steel Song. And many of the current Steel Song lists. Rapunzel definitely more prominent than the Cinderella, but doesn't mean Cinderella's not there. Their prices have been hovering around $100 for since like DLC Chicago, but if Steel Song kind of hits the ground running here and takes DLC Las Vegas, like what's stopping people from getting these full art extended versions? And then they actually retain a fair amount of value. And then once this DLC season ends, like we're only one away, then what? So if you're just looking for a card to really sit on and play in a deck that is now known to be a staple in the meta, which is Steel Song, which has been around since the very beginning, why not get these and invest in them and then sit on them for a little while, because they could easily go up to 150, 200, who knows how long.
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out that point because I think you hit the hammer on the head. There is no confirmation that these promos will ever get printed after the end of this year. So after Seattle's done, as far as we are aware, that's it. That's all you can get. And Rapunzel is a 4-of. Big Cindy is starting to become a 3-of because lantern decks. So I think you definitely hit it on the head. If you have a couple Cinderellas, the full art ones, unless you, of course, if you always need the cash, go ahead and sell it. But if you hang on, and if they don't announce a reprint, easily a double up. That card's a 4-of. Easily a double up.
And we've heard from plenty of people who would just rather play the full art version. I mean, I think normal Rapunzel is still around that $50 range. Like why not go to the DLC, get a bunch of tickets, get your playset of Rapunzels? That not only just saves you $200 in getting the normal Rapunzels, but then you get the elite Rapunzel, which is only just meant to go up as we go.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of people like to max rarity their decks, and you can't get more max rarity than that. But I want to move on from Steel Song, and let's hit you with another what if. What if Blue-Red wins? And you know what? I am going to shout out Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. Why is this card less than $20? I understand it's only played in Blue-Red, but it's a 4-of in Blue-Red. It's one of the best cards in Blue-Red. It's great in the mirror. It stops everything. It just boggles my mind that this is below $20. And I get it. We've always seen this trend of Dragon's terrible, $15 card. Oh, Dragon's great, $30 card. And I think Dragon for less than $20 is a steal. This card has been like $50 before. You should definitely be buying your Dragons. And even the cold foils are not what they used to be. And yes, they are expensive. I understand that. But they used to be over $100. And now they're less than that, and it's crazy. They're like $60, and yes, that is expensive, but I'm just saying it's not what it used to be. But we know those prices can get to that point, and I think that's insane. Another card is Sisu, Empowering Sibling, aka Big Sisu, is seeing play as a 4-of in Blue-Red, and that card gets around Pete, it gets around Ursula, it gets around of this song-hating meta that we're experiencing because Be Prepared is such a strong card. And why not get the enchanted version of it? It's pretty cheap considering all the other enchantments. And we're seeing a lot of buyouts right now, and Sisu is about $100. You can maybe get a good deal from somebody on online groups for less than $100. I mean, if Maui is a red card that is a 4-of in a lot of red decks, and Sisu is a red card that's a 4-of in a lot of decks, or even Red Purple is playing it as a 1 or 2-of, why is this not more? It could easily get $150, $200. Why not? It's a 4-of. It's a very good card. And the more song hate they print, the better this card gets.
Yeah. I think I also want to shout out kind of like the even the middle tier cards are still safely like blue chip stocks here. Like Maui, the normal rare is about $13. That has been tried and true since I want to say set 3. Like Maui's always been consistently like an easy $10 bill, but it's just holding steady. It's not going anywhere. Like basically any red deck will play Maui. But some of the newer editions, the foil versions, have been important. For example, probably everyone's favorite growing boy, Tipo. The foil version hitting at $8. I picked these up for $3 at DLC Toronto, and that still riding that high. But this card is played in basically any deck that's running blue right now. It is just right now probably the elite turn 2 ramp that we have seen. It is outclassing things like One Jump Ahead because it can't be pulled by Ursula, and then you get a body with it. Like that's just awesome. So Tipo card to look out for. I think another sleeper card for red blue specifically is just the human Sisu. That card right now, cold foil, sitting at $3 or $3 to $4. Pretty low. And if red blue tops, what's stopping that card from going up to where Tipo is?
Yeah, no, nothing. And yeah, it used to be like $1 card, so it's already going up. But yeah, why can't it double up? It's being played as a 3 or 4 of in a lot of lists, minimum 2. It's very good. And speaking of blue cards that are kind of sleepers, I want to shout out Cusco. He is a great answer to locations, which generally blue-red kind of struggles with. His cold foil's around $6, but he is a super rare. So realistically, if blue-red wins, probably could jump to $10 to $15. Easy. It's a very good card.
Very, very easily. Right there with Madame Medusa in like that $15 slot. It's not just used in that deck. Blurple uses Cusco too. So there's a couple of good answers there in that red blue deck that might be worth your time and investment.
Moving on, if red purple wins the DLC, I think it's tried and true. It's gonna be pretty much everything. Be Prepareds are gonna go up. Maui's are gonna go up. The petting zoo package is gonna go up. I would say it can't go up, but then foxes are $30, so apparently it can. Who's to say it can't go to $50 at this point? If anything, maybe the non-foils will go to 10, which would be crazy because Maui's are rare and it's almost $15. So why can't fox?
Yeah, I'm personally afraid of what some of these prices might look like if red purple takes another DLC event and does extremely well. If it's right there, we might be seeing a world where a cold foil rare is like $50 and is actually the most expensive card out of that set.
Yeah, and it's somewhat of a shame too because the appeal of red purple was that it was a rather cheap deck, around $200 to build, and it's slowly going up. But it just goes to show you that the Merlin Madame Nim package is just so strong. And honestly, unless they either do some sort of rotation or just power creep it, I don't see it ever leaving. Every purple deck plays 4 of fox, 4 of rabbit, 4 of goat, 4 of snake, and the cold foils just keep going up and up and up. And I mean, if fox can hit $30, rabbit can hit $30, goat can hit $30. It's people love their, like I said, people love their bling, and those purple cards are so good. All right, I'm gonna hit you with this because I haven't told you with this one, but I want you to get ready. I want you to be prepared. All right. What if green purple wins, right? And if we look at this card, and I can't believe it's this price right now, but Banzai Gluttonous Predator cold foils are $9. $9 right off the bat. It is insane. This card, and we can look at the graph right here, started at 50 cents. A 50-cent cold foil is now $9. And if this deck wins, easily a $15 to $20 cold foil.
Again, similar card, just a rare that is just in a very meta deck. That card has an extraordinary amount of relevancy for green purple. It trades with a snake or a fox. It quests for 2 lore and puts a tremendous amount of pressure. You don't even care about the fact that it is uninkable. Like, you're dropping it. You are just 100% dropping it. Even if it's like it ends up getting killed, like whatever. Like they had to waste a kill spell on your 2-drop uninkable. That's fine. Like you take that trade any day usually. It is an extraordinarily good card, especially for green purple, which all they're focused on is getting the gas out. Lyle to kind of slow you down, and then like eventually drop a Clarabelle and play all these little guys that you just eventually have to deal with.
Yeah, it's crazy because I like bought some at $2 like 2 weeks ago. So it's kind of crazy that it's $9 now. And even Lyle Tiberius Rourke, he somewhat got bought out. He was around a $2 cold foil. Now he's around 4 or 5, but he is a super rare in an older set. So if green purple wins, I could see Lyle easily doubling up. I mean, $5 for a super rare cold foil that's some people argue is the best card in green purple sounds great for me for $5. Probably is going to hit higher, so I definitely recommend getting those. But kind of staving off away from cold foils, sort of. I'm really surprised at the price of Ursula Sea Witch Queen, the big Ursula shift. It is a 3 to 4 of in green purple, even in blue purple. They play them as like a 2 to 3 of. It's pretty dang cheap for a legendary. Like, yes, I understand. If you want to go max rarity, even the game day promos that they gave out are pretty dang cheap. It's a sub $100 enchanted, and it's just crazy to me that the cold foils for Ursula are $10 and the non-cold foils are $6. Just pick up the cold foils. They're $4 more, and this card is a house against Steel Song, and it's very hard to remove for a lot of decks, and it's seeing play as a consistent 3 of in different purple decks. Why is this legendary sub $10? It makes no sense to me.
Okay, we've talked about Steel Song, we've talked about red blue, we've talked about red purple. A couple of the sleepers. What is your complete out of left field deck that actually has a chance to just sneak up and take everyone by storm, just like the purple yellow from Atlanta that will not just change the meta or dictate some of the meta, but greatly affect the finances? What's your gamble pick?
Oh man, that's a tricky question. My pick is not super out of left field, but a lot of people are down on this deck, which is green yellow discard. I think Diablo is too dang cheap. His non-foils are $23. That was a $50 card, and now he's half price. I do not think that's fair. I think he's still a very meta-relevant card. I think he's still very good, and the cold foils should be more expensive. I think that is a deck that can definitely take people out of left field. Or, I'll throw in a spicy take and say that red, yellow, Chernobog, Lantern will win the DLC.
All the red yellow decks. Fuego, I think, is what they call it on the Nowhere. They call that Nowhere.
That's a good one though. Like you were like, oh, I brought the Fuego. Like
brought the
like
fire. Yeah.
There's fire and lanterns too. Like it's a whole.
It's a whole thing. I think probably my left field pick is going to be Mufasa. Just yellow Mufasa. I think that there are enough. There's as much going on right now with the meta to where just these weird gamble cards are just like not being paid attention to. Mufasa was $15 right before Shimmering Skies came out, and now it is down to $10 because there's no major list that plays it. But there are some steel Mufasa builds, there are some green Fasa builds. Like what better way than to drop, like have your Mufasa dying, pick up a Clarabelle or pick up a Tink or pick up God knows what, and you just keep the pressure on. Like green has all of those big bodies that you just can't remove, and same for steel. Mufasa can play all into that, and then you figure all of these big cards that have these conditional summoning requirements, like Sheriff of Nottingham, the Namari from Steel, like Big Gaston, the Red Gaston. Like how are those going to play with a card like Mufasa? We already tried to cheat in things like Chernobog, but can Mufasa abuse those ones too? Like if a Mufasa deck ends up in the top 64, I imagine some people are just going to be like, "That's interesting. Let's try it." Like what better card to potentially win DLC Las Vegas than the Gamble King himself, Mufasa, the betrayed leader?
I think you mean the terrible leader. Uh, but yeah, no, that definitely great. And Mufasa is a future-proof card. And here's the thing: a playable legendary that is going to be always good because they're always going to print good creatures with good enter the battlefield effects. At $10 is great. I mean, we see him go beyond that before, and who's to say he can't? Are you ready for my spicy left field card pick?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Genie main attraction. You know what? Someone was playing it as a one or two of. We're in Vegas. I'm gonna buy a couple cold foils and just be like, you know what? Please, Burple, please. You don't have to win. Just get top 10. Get an invite. Get top 16, and please be playing Genie. So that way the cold foils go to a ridiculous price, and I'm happy. Also, Genie's my favorite character in Disney.
You might be onto something. There are he is dealing cards in the card. This is DLC Las Vegas. Anything can happen. We both kind of picked gamble cards here.
Yeah, let's go. It's on brand. I'm just so excited for Vegas. I feel like I have a weight off my shoulders by making the decision to not make a decision. So I'm excited, and it's definitely going to impact the prices. I would say if you haven't gotten your cards yet, you definitely want to get them now. They won't arrive in time for Vegas. Maybe they will if you pay for expedient shipping. But if you're a new player or someone who wants to build a new deck, it is definitely the perfect time to buy them now, because while we're still going, some cards are rising, other cards are falling. But when Vegas comes out, all those meta cards are going to go up, 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 because Vegas will tell us the information we need for Seattle. Because the decks you'll see in Vegas are going to be the decks you're going to see in Seattle. So you definitely, if you're not planning to go to Vegas, you want to be paying very, very, very close attention, because if you're going to Seattle, all those cards are going to spike. No question about it.
Yep, be quick on the trigger to get the cards you want right after DLC Vegas, because DLC Seattle probably not going to be too much different. You're going to see all the same relative decks. Maybe a sleeper or two, but if it's a sleeper deck, you won't really have that much of a hard time getting those cards. Hunt the cards you want as soon as you know the list.
Always gotta be prepared.
Be prepared, and off the field we go. Well, thank you, Dylan, for joining us on tonight's episode of Team and Finances. If you all enjoy this type of content, please subscribe, please like, and leave a comment. Let us know what other cards are you expecting to spike after DLC Las Vegas, and we will see you all after Vegas.
Bye. Wish us luck.